Okay, I'll explain you the JK flip-flop. Okay, in JK flip-flop we have J as input, K as input, clock as also input. Okay, so and the program goes like this. Architecture will be given in the program, and we are using the output as signal bit, SIGNAL, signal. Okay, now let me call it as Q. Q is the output bit. Okay, it's like this. Okay, let me say the working clock. Okay, I'll just go with the new one. Let me type here clock J K Q. This is how the program runs. If clock is 1, if J is 0, K is 0, output Q should be equal to no change. Output Q should be equal to no change. If clock equals 1, J equals 0, K equals 1, output Q should be equal to 0 since reset is 0. Okay, else if clock equals 1, if J equals 1, K equals 0, output Q should be equal to 1 since J is 1. The last case, if clock equals 1, if J equals 1, K equals 1, okay, output should be toggle. This is what we have to run the program. Okay, so the condition is clock should be 1, then only this will work out as expected. Okay, so for that we are not giving this Q as my input. Instead I am giving the Q as my signal bit. This Q I am giving it as my signal bit here. Okay, so I am going to give J as input, K as input, C as clock as also as input. Okay, so architecture, this is the signal bit. I don't call it as input or output, just I am calling it as signal. So how to write it? SIGNAL space Q colon bit end with semicolon. Okay, so after this, since we are using a clock should be given in the process. So process clock. Process already. After every process, again you have to start with begin. Okay, after every process you have to again start with begin. What is the logic? Says that if clock is 1, this is the first and primary condition. If clock is 1, yes, if clock is 1, it's true. Enter the loop. If J equals 0 and K equals 0, then the signal bit Q will be equal to Q. That is no change. Q 0, the output will be 0. If Q is 1, output will be 1. Therefore, the output follows your input. ELS, else if J equals 0 and K equals 1, then Q equals 0 as it is given. Okay, next, else if J equals 1 and K equals 0, then Q equals to 1. Else Q equals not of Q on the toggle. If Q equals 0, output will be 1. If Q equals 1, output will be 0. End if, since we have started two ifs here, one is this if, the other one is main if here. Okay, since we have started two if, end two ifs here, and since we have started a process, end a process. Okay, that's all. Okay, so let me go with the program now. New project, give some project some name here. Next, finish. Okay, create new source, double click on the create new source, select Vhdl module, file name is some file name you give. Okay, so give it as JKC. Okay, JKC, all three are inputs. Okay, next, finish. Next is finish. Okay, scroll down here. This is what you get by default. Okay, now what we need to type here, we need to type this signal bit. Okay, copy this signal bit. The signal bit where it should be typed? After architecture, before the begin. This is the signal bit. Before the begin we have to type. Okay, so next, after signal bit begin we have to start with process, process. Inside the process, give it as clock. Okay, no need of semicolon. Again, after every process again start with begin. Okay, now you type the program. What is the program here? If clock equals 1, copy from here. If clock equals 1, everything you need to type till this end process. Okay, last line I could not copy. End process, end with semicolon. Okay, so save, compile, implement design, synthesize XST, check syntax. Okay, no error, perfectly working. Okay, now change the synthesis to behavioral. Click on this file name, click on this plus mark of model sim, simulate behavioral model. We will get back to this. You cannot open two at a time, hence it was stuck. Okay, right click on this J, make this J as force. Okay, before that let me see, since it is a clock here, do not force the clock, give it as clock antane kanutte nodi illi. Right click on the clock. Okay, clock ಮೇಲೆ click ಮಾಡಿ okay ಕೊಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. You want rising edge and rising edge click ಮಾಡಿ. If you want falling negative edge, you can give falling edge. Since it is default rising edge, okay, I repeat. Okay, the first step is right click on the clock. Okay, right click on the clock, do not force, you just give it as clock only. Clock antane ಕೊಡಿ, okay anta ಕೊಡಿ. Okay, first step is force J as 1, force J as 1. Okay, force J as 1, force K as 0, force K as 0, run the program. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಕ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಥರ ಸಿಂಬಲ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಕ್ಲಾಕ್ ಪಲ್ಸ್ ಬರಬೇಕು. Since J is 1, K is 0, clock is 1, output Q equals 1 because J is 1. Okay, now you make K as 1. Now you make K as 1. Okay, now you make J as 0. Since K is 1 here, my output should go to 0. Let me run the program. Yes, output is 0. It's perfectly working. Waveform ನೋಡಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. 0 ಹೋಯ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ, 0 ಹೋಯ್ತು ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಆಯಿತಾ? ಓಕೆ, now let me make both as 0 0. Let me make both as 0 0. J is already 0, so let's make K also as 0. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಿದೆ ಅಂತ. K ಬಂದರೆ K ಅಂತ. Okay, run the program. It should not change. It should not change because when both are 0 0, output remains no change. Okay, let us make now both, last case, let us make both as 1. Let us make J also as 1. Let us make K also as 1. It should toggle. Toggle ಅಂದರೆ 1 0 1 0 ನಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು ನೋಡಿ. 1 ಆಯ್ತು, ಈಗ ಮತ್ತೆ 0 ಆಯಿತು, ಮತ್ತೆ 1 ಆಯಿತು, 0 1 0. ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ದ ಕ್ಯೂ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಟಾಗಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಕ್ಯೂ ವೇವ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಹಂಗೆ ನಾಟಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಇದು. ಓಕೆ, ಟಾಗಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನೈದರ್ ಬಿ ಎಟ್ 1 ನಾರ್ ಎಟ್ 0. ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಇದು ಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ವೇವ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, so I have shown all the 4 cases for you. Okay, so I think that is the end of the Vhdl program. Any doubts, you can just let me know, or else you can practice yourself. Thank you.